Hello everyone and welcome to the Transition into Childcare workshop. Today we are going to be looking at support and ideas for preparing young children and parents and carers when starting nursery or school. Today the session is being delivered by myself. My name is Becky Harris. I work at South Islip Children's Centre, and we also have Christina Grant who works at Uxbridge Family Hub. Today, in the session, we will be covering childcare options, supporting transition, independence, toilet training, separation anxiety, being a play partner, early years foundation stage, lunches and bags. So firstly, we are going to cover childcare options. There are lots of differences between the types of childcare you can use. Try to visit several different options in your area to get an idea of what best suits your child. Family Information Service, so that's Hillenden Family Information Service, will be able to help and support you with all the options and help you and see what you are entitled to with regards funding. Take your child with you to see how staff talk to them, okay? Try to visit a childcare setting when children are there so you can see the environment and how the setting runs when your child would be there and the times your child would be there. There are different childcare options. You have childminders. They look after your child within their own home. When you're thinking about any childcare options, always look at Ofsted reports and see what information you can get from that Ofsted report regarding that childcare provider. You also have private nurseries. Private nurseries look after children on a designated site. All can vary on layout, ages, and what they provide and what services they provide as well. Again, make sure that your setting that you are viewing or you are interested in are Ofsted registered. Opening hours can vary with nurseries, so sometimes they can be 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m, but these can vary dependent on the setting. You also have school nurseries. These are for children 3+. Many school nurseries will take children the term after they're 3, but some school nurseries now are taking children the term after they are 2. And that is for children that are accessing the free funding. Again, look at your Ofsted reports to see how the school recently done in their Ofsted inspection. You also have preschools. This is for children aged 2+. Some children may be 3 and over. They tend to only be open morning and afternoons, or they may only do school hours, which is 9 till 3. Ofsted is really important, and that's why we say to you, please ensure that all of the settings you look at or you're interested in are Ofsted registered. Okay, they help to improve the standards in education and child social care. Okay, and they will go in and look at thousands upon thousands of organisations, and they will support and look at the education, the training and the care that is being provided. And that is from childminders to training providers, schools and to local authorities. And all this information and all their reports from each setting that they inspect will be then uploaded onto the internet. So it's the government website, and that is where you can find all of the childcare providers' report. Okay, so we're now going to move on to supporting transition. So before starting the setting, there are different things you can do to support your child. Okay, so check their settling in sessions. So look at the settling in that they are providing. Can they extend the settling in period if your child is settling in well? Okay, make sure you get that feedback from the setting and see what they offer and see what that settling in program looks like. Be honest with the setting about your child's development. So it's really important that we share any information about your child's individual needs. The more they know about your child, the easier it is to settle them in. It's important to tell the setting about what your child likes, maybe don't like, their likes, their dislikes, the things they enjoy, the things that help them to settle. Do they have a comforter? And also sharing with the settings around your child's development and where they are at. It will help to reduce any anxieties you may have. And it's important to be open and honest, because this will help your child with that settling in time. Get familiar with routines. Knowing the routines and doing these routines at home will support with your child's transition into school. Talk to them about them starting school, the nursery setting. Walk past the nursery settings, the school settings, talk about what you see and get them excited about what is happening. Let them become familiar with what is happening by even just walking past the school and having photos of the school and pictures of their classroom. And that's something that can be shared via the school and yourselves to help with that settling in. Be organised and allow more time for tasks. So we're thinking about this for their morning routines. Have the bag packed, have their clothes out the morning before, so it reduces that amount of pressure in the mornings. And you can just focus on supporting your child with them first few weeks of school. Be positive about your new setting. Talk positively about starting nursery or nursery school. This will then help your child to feel positive about their new environment that they're going to be going in, and that will then in turn support their transition. Teach your child the independent skills and that toilet training, which we're going to move on to in a minute. Okay. Talk to your children about different emotions, children's centres, the schools, friends and family can help with supporting you with that transition and looking at them independent skills and supporting with that transition into nursery or school. Okay, so now we need to think about getting your child ready for school. Okay, so research shows that learning through play is important and can help children be ready for school. So all play opportunities are really important to enhance their speech and language, their social interaction, their development, that problem solving, all helps children to learn. Okay, so learning through play is really important. So it's important that we provide them positive opportunities to allow children to be able to explore in that unstructured play and then open-ended opportunities for them to be able to develop. So children need access to open-ended play where they have unstructured play. Children explore and create freely. There are no rules. There are no outcomes. Playing with something like a cardboard box, pots and pans, building blocks, using their imagination when you're going for walks in the woods, read stories like we're going on a bear hunt, or be imaginative with them stories. Providing that open-ended play. Okay, what you will find is a lot of settings there won't be that end product, because what's important is that a child can go back to that activity time and time again to revisit it and to explore that activity more, where new ideas will come in and new learning will take place. It takes 6 weeks for the working brain to embed any type of learning and for that learning to be embedded. So you will find that a lot of children and a lot of settings will provide activities over and over again because it helps children's memory and it helps them to find new ways of learning. It's that repetitive play. What's most important is that you and your child have fun together in those preschool months, and you're sharing stories, singing, playing games, talking, having that imaginative play and socialising. We want children to have them strong social skills. It helps with their language, that interaction, all them skills children need for when they start nursery or school. Children can cope emotionally being separated from their parents or carers. Children are relatively independent on their own, so we've got to think about them independent skills and then that personal care, thinking about ensuring our children are developing them skills in toileting, washing hands, and drinking from a free flow cup. And all children have sort of curiosity about the world around them and that desire to learn. So give children them opportunities to learn. If you can start doing that before they start school, it's great because they will have some of them skills before they start them settings. So, toilet training. What is toilet training? So, it recognises the need to go to the toilet, controlling the need to go to the toilet, that communication and communicating that need to go to the toilet, and completing the toileting sequence as far as they can. So, to do that, we are aiming for children to be able to pull up their underwear. So, pull up and pull it down, get onto the toilet, sit on the toilet, have a wee or poo, wipe themselves, get off the toilet, pull up their underwear, flush the toilet, wash and dry hands. This is the process for toilet training. Many schools will expect children to be toilet trained before they start school. Okay, so these are the skills children need before we can start thinking about that toilet training. And every child is different. So it's about parents, carers modelling that good practice and encouraging these skills that we see. So we are aiming for a child to be able to pull up their underwear and pull them down. We need to encourage these skills. When should I start toilet training? So when your child knows that they have a wet or dirty nappy, they know when they are passing urine and can tell you. The gap between wetting is less than an hour. They show they need to wee by fidgeting or hiding somewhere quiet. They know when they need to wee and may say so in advance, so they may tell you. They can follow simple instructions. They can assist with dressing routines. The toilet training is usually faster if your child is at the last stage before you start the toilet training. If you start earlier, be prepared for lots of accidents as your child is learning. They also need to be able to sit on the toilet and get up from the toilet when they are done and follow those instructions. So we encourage toilet training, not potty training. And one of them reasons is because when they go into school, they will be using a toilet. Okay, so these are really important skills that children need. We need to start thinking of toilet training to prepare our children for when they start nursery and when they start school. Now, this is a very short piece on toilet training, but children's centres do offer a toilet training workshop, which is online, and you can seek some more information around how to support your child with toilet training. Also, if they are in a private nursery or in a childminded, they can also support you with that process as well. So once you do start doing the toilet training, we need to be patient and don't expect them instant results. Do not restrict fluids. So children need lots of drink. Okay. We need to give lots of drink. They need fluid. Follow a healthy diet. So ensure your child is getting lots of fibre to help with bowel movements so that they are softer. Take them to the toilet when you expect them to wee. So you may have that routine where you put them on the toilet every hour until you can see that they've got to grips with toilet training and they start indicating themselves when they need to go. Keep a diary. Do not show signs of concern. We want this to be a positive experience and we don't want your little ones to feel anxious. Remember, there are several steps. So that was on the slide, a couple of slides before. They need to do them steps before we can think about putting them on the toilet. So pulling up and down their trousers is one of the steps. If your child is reluctant to sit on the toilet, sing to them. Use distractions, bubbles, stories, singing, all helps children to sit on the toilet. And again, it is that positive experience. We want them to feel, we don't want children to feel anxious when they're going to the toilet. Praise your child and role model. Okay. So independence. Independence is key to your child starting nursery or school. They will be required to be independent with tasks. So we can encourage that by helping them to make their own choices. So to do that at snack time, you could give them a little choice, a banana or an apple, and encourage them to pick. Allow them to problem solve in tasks. Allow them to do everyday tasks. So let them help you with them everyday tasks. Dressing themselves. So one thing you can do is encouraging them to put their own socks on, pull up their own trousers. So they may not necessarily be able to put them on, but encourage them to pull them up. That's the first step. Encouraging them to put their coats on. So they could put their hood on their head and then put their arms through. It's all ways in which children can be encouraged to do these tasks. Encouraging to ask for help. So encouraging your children to ask for help from familiar adults. Start the toilet training and also encourage them to wash their own hands. Following instructions which are age appropriate. Self-serving drinks, food and eating independently. So in schools, they will be encouraged to get their own water, pick their own fruit, and having them skills around that sort of eating independently. Recognizing names or initials, following routine, and turn taking with toys and games. So some of this will be, we have to think about that age appropriate to your child, but things like turn taking, you can play roll a ball to each other. That is a turn taking game. Playing peekaboo is a turn taking game. Turning the pages in a story, taking it in turn. So there's lots of activities that can be done to support with turn taking skills. Okay, so just thinking back on toilet training and some other information, be consistent with the toilet training. We need to have a consistent approach to support our children with achieving in toilet training. We suggest starting the toilet training in summer. So in them summer months where it's warmer, they're wearing more looser clothes that are easier to pull down and pull up. And also if they have accidents, it does dry that little bit quicker. Reward chart can be very helpful. If you don't make a fuss when they have an accident, so we want it again to be a very positive experience. They then won't feel anxious or worried about the next time that they need to go, and it will be a more successful experience. When you start toilet training, inform any of the caregivers. So I mentioned this earlier, inform the people that are working with your child or looking after your child so that they can continue with that care. And pants means no. Okay, so you can just let them sort of run around if you're at home with no pants on and just keep encouraging them to go back to the toilet. Separation anxiety. So all children are going to struggle, maybe at some point when they start nursery. It is a big change. It's a big transition into something new. And separation anxiety is very normal. Okay. It's an important part of the attachment, especially if your little ones have been with you since they were born and it is the first time they are going to a setting. And it is healthy for children to feel like this and for you to feel like this as parents or carers. It's a normal part of children's development. Separation may cause anxiety for you and possibly your child because it's all new. Okay, it's a whole new experience. Separation can involve many different forms of behaviour. So you may find that your child may present different types of behaviour when they are starting school because it's something new, it's a new transition. This may look like temper tantrums, being very clingy, refusing to separate from their parents. They may feel a little bit anxious and they may cry. Okay, this is all normal. But that is why we encourage that positive, then positive conversations before, so that it reduces some of that anxiety for your child, and walking past the settings, getting them used to and getting them familiar with their new settings. Attachment does not mean physically being there with your child at all times. So it's just thinking about how can you encourage that separation. Coming along to the children's centres, coming to stay and play sessions will help with that separation anxiety. Even though you're in the room with them, they can go off and play in all the different learning opportunities that are provided. Sometimes as parents, you can feel that guilt because your child may be expressing different types of emotions, but this is common. Okay. And again, it's just about us being very positive about the separation and remembering that this is a beneficial part of their life. Okay. It's something that's really good for their development, meeting new people, and experiencing new things. Separation and independence is also very beneficial and it supports children in life as well. And that's what we need. We want them to grow as an individual, okay? And we want them to be able to succeed and manage that for themselves. And there is lots of support available, which we will talk about at the end of the workshop.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about supporting separation. Right, we understand that it's hard when your child becomes upset, when you've had to leave them at their childcare setting, even when you've had to leave them with another family member or friend. It is difficult to see them being upset. But I'm going to go through some tips that should help you during this time. So starting with being consistent in the routines that you establish. And by that, I mean trying to keep the routine the same. So when you're leaving your child, when you're setting off in the morning, keeping that the same. And when it is time to tell them you're going and saying that goodbye, try not to go back and redo the goodbyes. Give that cuddle, give the kiss, wave goodbye, and then try and leave at that point. Because doing that and being consistent in that will just set the expectation for your child to know that, okay, when I'm being dropped off, this is what happens, and I know that my parent will come back at the end of the day to collect me. Try not to cancel plans through worrying that your child will cry. Okay, try and keep your own routine the same. And remember that this is all part of their development, and that inconsistencies and not being consistent can affect that process and can affect your child being on their way to gain that ability to separate from you and be okay. So quick goodbyes, but always remember to say goodbye to your child. This sets the boundary for them. and try to keep your goodbyes brief and positive. So attention, before dropping off, give your full attention. Do not drop off when you yourself are busy. So try not to be on your phones at all or have any headphones in your ears. Give your child your full attention on that time when it's time for you to separate for them. Have positive conversations on the lead up to dropping them off, conversations about their day, and being affectionate as well. Be affectionate that whole time with them. Keep promises. We know things can happen out of our control. That's completely normal. But depending on the age and stage of your child, tell them verbally that you will come and pick them up, whether it be the end of a full day or if they're going for half days, that you'll be there to pick them up just before lunch or just after lunch. And after, or if they're having a nap there first, that you'll pick them up after that, after their sleep time. And if you cannot keep to this time that you have said that you will be coming back for them, just call the childcare provider that's looking after them and let them know that they can pass the message, or that they can inform your child that you will be coming as soon as you can and you'll be there a little bit later, because doing this helps to build trust. Okay, in practice, prior to starting a childcare setting or school, or leaving your child, join some children's centre sessions if you haven't already done so. Because as it's been said before, coming to children's centre sessions can help to develop your child's independence. And if you are unable to come to any children's centre sessions before your child goes to their new childcare settings, if you have a family member or friend who's able to stay with them for a short period of time, have a go at doing that, letting your child just become a little bit more familiar with separating from you. Okay. Practice your journeys to and from the childcare provider to home, and your routines. Get your child into a good routine for going to bed at a good time so they got enough sleep, ready for the next morning. And prior to starting nursery or school, ensure they are getting that adequate sleep that they need for waking up. And once you have found a childcare provision, ask them their routine, and if you want, you can follow the routine that the childcare setting has in place, and you can begin to trial that at home before they start. Now, expect off days, because some children will settle quicker than others. You know, some you might find they have separated from their parent or carer before, so some children don't take as long to settle in. Okay, but just remember to not compare your child to any other. Every child develops at their own rate and stage. Okay, so it's fine if they do have the off day. That is absolutely fine and normal. Now, if you want any further support in this area, please feel free to contact either the children's centre, your local children's centre, or your health visiting team, your GP, or because they'll be able to discuss with you. And you can also contact your childcare provider as well, at being a nursery setting or school. Okay, just remember that children can cope emotionally with being separated from their parents and carer. Right. Now I'm going to go on to talk about what can parents and carers do to support themselves. Okay, so a little bit here for the adults. As was mentioned before, do not prolong the goodbyes, because not only can that be unsettling for your child, it can be unsettling for you as well. It can just, make you feel like, okay, the routine you have planned for yourself is not going the way you wanted it. So yeah, do not prolong the goodbyes, but make arrangements where you can to call the caregiver or childcare provider, whether it be after about 20 or 30 minutes after you leaving, just to check how your child is doing. That is particularly expected in those first few days, initial weeks of settling in. I think childcare providers would expect that if you want to call, you can, and they will just let you know how your child is getting on. If you are due to return to work, leave plenty of time to talk to your employer about your work hours so that you can ensure you have the correct childcare options in place and that it's all suitable. And doing this in advance will reduce stress for you. So yes, try and have that all in place as early as you can. If you are going back to work, have discussions with your employer about your children's transition so that they are aware of the situation, just letting them know what days that your child's going to start, their settling in days, or when their first day at school begins. Do be honest and open with your employer about this. Okay, try to have begun that settling in at childcare prior to you going back to work yourself, and so that you can be around for them for the first few sessions or first few days if needed. If you are not returning to work, and that's dependent on how you feel, if you are anxious, try to keep busy. Okay, try to create a routine for yourself of how you spend your day whilst your little one is now at their childcare setting or school. Reach out if you need support in this area. Maybe if you need some advice on volunteer programs or courses that are available, do have a talk to, again, staff at children's centres about this, and we will be able to help you and support you if needed. So have confidence that your child's caregiver will look after your child and be able to deal with his or her distress. Be honest about how your child has been daily. So that can come from when you go and collect your child from their setting, just asking those questions about how they've been, and sharing as well anything your child may have shared with you about how their day has gone, as this equips the staff to ensure that your child is being catered for and their needs are being met. Now, if your baby or child has never been with anyone other than you or is naturally more reserved or shy, it will be natural that they will take longer to settle, as mentioned before. And if that is the case, as I said before, do not compare your child to any other child, because each child develops at their own stage and rate. Remember, it is good for your child to get used to being independent from you. And parents and carers, remember that this is only a temporary phase for your child and it will pass. Okay, going on to the next slide. Being a play partner. You are your child's first and most important role model. Okay, and that being parents are the primary teachers in their child's life, influencing their thoughts, their feelings, and experience in the world. Okay, research has shown that the influence of parental involvement can have a major impact on school readiness and attainment levels from birth right up to 16 years of age. Okay, so I'm just going to go through ways that you can be a play partner with your child. A lot of it does come from that talking to your child and listening to them as they begin to develop their own form of communication and develop their words. Reading with your child, reading stories to them, especially at bedtime and just during the day. Teaching songs and nursery rhymes as well is also a great thing to do together to build that play partner and relationship with each other. We've got teaching songs and nursery rhymes, painting, mark making, and messy play, trips to the library. Role modeling as well is crucial and an important way of being a play partner with your child. And that role modeling can come from parents leading and your child copying you, but also it can come from your child leading that process and parents and carers copying your child whilst they play. Okay. Allow children to make choices. Let them problem solve. Do not always jump in, and then allow safe risk taking, as this builds their confidence and problem solving skills. At this point, I just want to mention that there is the characteristics of effective learning, and Those characteristics describe behaviours children use in order to learn. So to learn well, children must approach opportunities with curiosity, energy, and enthusiasm. These are things to think about when being a play partner with your child. Effective learning must be meaningful to a child so that they are able to use what they have learned and apply it in new situations. Right. Right, I'm now going to go on to the early years foundation stage. Okay, so the early years foundation stage, or EYFS for short, it supports professionals working with children to ensure they develop all areas of their learning. So when your child goes into their childcare setting, their new nursery, their school, between the ages of 0 up to 5, the early years foundation stage is what teachers and practitioners are going to be using to support your child's learning. So it sets out the legal requirements that registered providers must follow in order to keep children safe. There is a unique child element, and that's all about every child being unique, and they are consistently learning and can be resilient, capable, confident, and self-assured. Then there's positive relationships. Children learn to be strong and independent through positive relationships. We've got enabling environments. Children learn and develop well in environments where their experiences respond to their individual needs, and there is a strong partnership between practitioners and yourself as a parent or carer. Now, children learn and develop in different ways and at different rates. The Early Years Foundation framework covers the education and care of every child within a childcare setting, including children with additional needs. Okay, now I'm just going to go into breaking down by topic area what the EYFS covers. So what does this mean for you and your child? The Early Years Foundation stage supports your child through play and experiences, and it's split into 7 areas. So the 3 prime areas are communication and language, physical development, and then there's personal, social, and emotional development. Okay. And then these 3 prime areas support your child's initial skills and gives them the basis to develop into the 4 specific areas. So those 4 specific areas are literacy, mathematics, understanding the world, and expressive art and design. Okay. So in total, there are 7 areas of the early years foundation stage framework. So the EYFS supports play experiences that enable your child to expand their knowledge and skills to support their individual learning and support in their early years, with you being the role model. The activities and experience that are provided for your child at their childcare setting will underpin the skills they need to learn and need to work towards achieving the early learning goals, okay, in the following 7 areas that I mentioned. Okay. Right, on to thinking about food. So your children's packed lunches. Now, depending on the setting that your child is going into, you may or may not need to provide a packed lunch for them. Okay, but if you will be providing a packed lunch, I'm just going to go through how you can approach that and what to consider. So firstly, prepare the night before if appropriate, and if the food you are preparing for them can be done the night before, that will just allow you more time in the morning to do the morning routine. So base the main lunchbox items on foods like bread, rice, pasta, and potatoes, and choose whole grain where you can. So do take a look at this chart on the screen, okay, because it helps you think about the quantities of the different types of food that your child could have in their packed lunch boxes. So think about cutting back on fats, on fatty foods, on foods with a high fat content. Go for lower fat spreads where you can. If you're using cheese, try and look for a reduced fat hard cheese. Try to avoid using mayonnaise in sandwiches. Okay, pick lower fat fillings like lean meat, and this includes chicken or turkey if your child eats those meats. Always remember to add vegetables or fruit. So we've got things like cherry tomatoes or sticks of carrot, cucumber sticks, celery, sweet peppers. These all count towards your child's 5 fruit or veg a day. And it's possible to add a small pot of reduced fat hummus or other dips if your child would prefer to dip their vegetables into a dipping or sauce. And tinned fruit does count, so bear that in mind as well. Okay, on to creating your child's bag for nursery. So, to help your child feel more at ease, why don't you ask them to help you with packing their bag so that they can see themselves what they're taking? And this again depends on your child's age and stage of development, but make preparing their bag fun. Okay, so we've got things like buying the bag or buying a new bag or reusing one that your child's already familiar with, but let them have input in that. So if they have a bag with their favorite character on there, you know, maybe that your child may select that that's the one they want to take with them, and allow that. Now, things to pack in their bag. So pack extra clothing such as t-shirts, leggings, trousers, socks, etc. Pack, again, if your child is in nappies, pack nappies, wipes and nappy cream. And if they're having their milk as well, that's going with them. Remember their milk, remember the bottles. Pack lots of spare knickers and underpants, especially if your child is going through potty training or they're new to toilet or potty training. They will need those spares in there. And even if your child is toilet trained, having those spare pants and knickers is also a good thing to have in their bags. You can also pack outdoor shoes, so welly boots. They are great for winter weathers, and it's good if your child has their own pair that they can take with them. Seasonal coats are important to think about. Okay, so winter coats in winter, maybe a light raincoat when it's raining, but it's not too cold. And then when the weather is warmer, things like sun cream and sun hats. Now, some nurseries and some other childcare providers do allow you to store sun cream there, and some do not. So that's just something you'll have to find out when you begin and make sure you're aware of what their protocol is. But remember, water bottles, comforters, if your child has that with them, is used to having a comforter, let them have that with them to help them settle. And this can be, for example, a piece of clothing that has your scent on it, or it can be a family photo that your child might want to take in with them. But we try not to encourage toys for going in as comforters, as they may get lost or mistakenly tidied away with the nursery or the school setting toys. So try to avoid your child going in with a toy. But any medication that is needed, such as Calpol or prescribed medicine, make sure that they are going in and that the childcare provider is aware of this, and gain that signed consent, because this will be required for taking in medication. Okay, but one very important thing to remember with your child having their bag for nursery or school is that you, parents and carers, do need to label everything your child takes in with them, because it's likely that things can go missing or get picked up by another parent. So yeah, labeling is so important so you can get your things back. All right.
Okay, so we are now on our final slide, and we are just going to talk a little bit about additional support. So you have the children's centres where you can come into and seek some more advice and support around children's transition. So please go into your local family hub and children's centre, and they will be able to support you if you've got any further questions. But there are workshops that you can also attend to support with transition. Like I said before, we have a toilet training workshop. This is an online workshop and it is 1 hour, and we look more in depth about toilet training, what that is, what it looks like, and the things you can put in place to support your child in toilet training. We also have a fussy eating workshop. Again, we look at different types of foods, how we can support them fussy eaters within the home. We also have wellbeing workshops and programs. This is for parents. So if you feel that transition is something that you are struggling with and that you've got lots of anxieties around your child starting school or nursery, we do have wellbeing workshops that you can come along to. Equally, we also have wellbeing workshops that can support general well-being. So if there are any other anxieties or things that you are concerned about, please contact the Children's Centre and we can guide you in the right direction. There are also behaviour strategy online workshops that can support you with supporting your child's behaviour, strategies, ideas that you can put in place, as well as also sleep workshops. Again, this is an online workshop. It looks at them different sleep patterns, the struggles you may face with sleeping at night, and what can be put in place, exploring all the environment and things that are going on in that environment to help improve that sleep. There are also lots of other groups that you can attend that support development, communication, and language. And they are things like Attention Hillingdon, coming along to our stay and play sessions. We have healthy eating programs here, and they are all groups that can support with attention building, play skills, healthy eating, all them vital things children need to start school. So we can start putting things in place now to help with that transition into school and support their development. So thank you for listening to our workshop. You will now be going off to do the free transition program, so the Ready to Go program, 3 sessions over 3 weeks. If you do have any more questions regarding the information that you have heard today, please speak to the practitioners that will be delivering the groups when you do them face-to-face sessions. But thank you so much for listening, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.